Hello, welcome back to Learn Economia. Having discussed the current affairs session of September 2021, today we are starting the October session. Actually, this with this video we are not ending the October session because October is still going on, and we could be able to see many other events coming on. So. So let's get started with respect to today's video. We'll be covering different sessions today. Um, the first event was 8th Ministerial Meeting of India-US Economic and Financial Partnership Dialogue. In the September 2021 itself, we have seen that there were several dialogues going on between India as well as US. Here, what happened was that the Union Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs, Nirmala Sitharaman, and Secretary of the Treasury of United States, Janet Yellen, they are the ones who chaired the meeting. And during the meeting, both US as well as India held many discussions on a wide range of subjects such as macroeconomic outlook, financial, regulatory, and technical collaboration, recovery from COVID-19 pandemic, climatic change, anti-money laundering, multilateral engagement, and combating the financing of terrorism. What they have affirmed is that their commitments for continuing the collaboration at the bilateral level as well as multilateral level in order to address these kinds of issues of mutual understanding and global importance were taken, and they decided to strive towards friendly strategies and solutions. And the meeting was concluded with the adoption of the joint statement by both the ministers, the Minister of India as well as the Minister of the US. And coming to the economic relation between India and USA, we could see that there exists a bilateral trade between India as well as USA, and this was stood at US dollar 88.75 billion in 2019-20. And with respect to India, we could see that the USA is one of the important trading partners of India, and India is actually having a trade surplus with the US, and in the year 2019-20, India's trade surplus with the USA has risen, or it has increased by 70.42 billion. Increased to 70.42 billion as compared to the case of 2018-19. In the case of 2018, it was just about 16 million. Okay. Now, coming to the case of supplier of services of imports for USA. For USA, India is the sixth largest supplier of services, and India's large market progress towards development and economic growth make it an essential market for US exporters as well. Now, coming to the issues which were discussed during this dialogue between India as well as US with respect to trade partnership, we could see that there exists a lot of market barriers, including tariff as well as non-tariff barriers, as well as a multiple practice and regulations. And this was one of the important topic of discussion when India and US met together. Generalized system of preferences programs was another important issue. Then for India, US temporary visa policies which affect the internationals working in the United States was another important topic of discussion. So with that, we move on to the next topic. October 14, World Sight Day. And we have to understand that this particular day is observed as a World Sight Day, and this is to draw attention on blindness as well as vision impairment. It was originally started in the year 2000 by the Sight First campaign of Lions Club International Foundation. And this particular day is considered as very important, or the observance of this day is considered to be very important with respect to advocacy and communication with respect to eye health calendar. And this day is observed as a World Sight Day in order to bring global attention to impairment and blindness. The theme of the day in this year was Love Your Eyes. Coming to the background of the observance of this day, we could see that the first World Sight Day was observed by the Lions Club International, which was partnered with the blindness presentation organizations in 1998. And then the event was integrated into Vision 2020, which is considered to be a global initiative, which is coordinated by International Agency for Prevention of Blindness. And this observance of World Sight Day is considered to be a joint program between the World Health Organization and the International Agency for Prevention of Blindness, which comprises of professional association, non-government organization, as well as eye care institutions. Why do we observe this day as a World Sight Day? Coming to the significance of the day, we can see that there are more than 1 billion people across the globe who cannot see properly as they do not have access to glasses. So, 1 billion people are actually suffering from preventable vision impairment, and also many others are suffering from very chronic diseases with or chronic impairment. And poor or lost eyesight leave long-lasting effects on every aspect of life, such as on daily personal activities, work, daily routine, interacting with the community, etc. In this scenario, it's very important to observe World Sight Day, and now we are observing this as on October 14th, and with the collaboration of Lions Club International, WHO, and IAPEB. You have to understand the theme of this year. That is very important. Now, coming to the next issue, Maritime Exercise Malabar Phase 2nd. Malabar Phase is actually conducted in the Bay of Bengal from October 12 to October 15 in 2021, and this is considered to be the second phase of Malabar exercise to build the strategic coordination between the participating nations and to enhance the interoperability that was developed during the first phase of the exercise. This was the main motive of the second phase, and it was about the second phase. It's important to understand that in this phase, the United States deployed more than 100,000 ton Nimitz class super aircraft carrier, and the US actually it was represented by Lake Champion. These were very important with respect to this aircraft carrier and all, and maritime exercise and all. You have to understand this. And Japanese Navy represented by JS Kaga. And with respect to Australia, in the second phase for them, it was Royal Australian Navy deploying the exercise. And coming specifically to Malabar exercise, it was actually started as an annual bilateral naval exercise in the year 92 between India and US, which comprises of a series of exercises increasing scope and complexity over time. Coming to the next topic, India's plastic waste recycling targets. We know that we are actually suffering a problem with respect to plastic waste, and extending the draft with respect to this provides that quantity of waste will have to be managed by producers, brand owners, and importers who generate these kinds of waste. There are three categories of plastic packing. We have to understand the rigid plastic packaging, flexible packaging, multi-layered plastic packaging. So there are these three different forms. Coming to the draft taken or draft considered in this meeting, or you can see that in 21-22, producers of plastic packaging waste are required to manage 35% of their Q1 waste in metric tons. Similar to this, we can see that this is applicable to importers, brand owners, etc. And for brand owners, the EPR target in 2021-22 will be average weight of plastic packaging material which have been purchased and introduced in the market in the last 2 years, plus average quantity of pre-consumer plastic packaging for the same period. Coming to another important day, that is October 15, which is recognized as the International Day of Rural Women. Why do we observe this day as the International Day of Rural Women? We know that there exists gender inequality. So not only this gender inequality is not only with respect to India, but it is visible in all the other parts of the economy. The world economy itself is suffering from these kinds of problems. So in order to empower women, especially in the rural areas, we observe International Day of Rural Women. This recognizes a contribution and critical role played by rural women, including these indigenous women, in enhancing agriculture and rural development, eradicating poverty, improving food security, etc. The United Nations has published a report on women workforce, and in this report we could see that 40% of the total agricultural labor force come across developing, these are from developing countries and these are women. In the case of South American countries, 20% of the labor force is women, and in the case of Asia and Africa, it is 50% of the agricultural labor force is women. We could see in the report that equal opportunities can boost agriculture production by 2.5 to 4%. Equal opportunities in the sense that equal opportunities for both men and women. And the women suffer from a lot of problems like malnourishment, and these kinds of labor force participation for women, actually it is found to reduce malnourishment and related problems. And what are the major concerns that were raised during this International Day of Rural Women, which was observed on October 15, 2021. Coming to that, we could see that even after compromising of almost half of the workforce, these women do not enjoy any kind of equal rights when their rights are compared with that enjoyed by their men counterparts. Women face many kinds of discrimination in access to resources, participation in decision making, equal pay, credit and market for their farms, land, livestock, etc. So in order to address these kinds of issues, it is very important to look into, or it is very important to observe a day as International Day of Rural Women, and that's why we have chosen October 15 for observing International Day of Rural Women. Moving to the background of this day, we can see that this day was established by United Nations General Assembly on December 18, 2011 with a resolution that is 62/136. That was the resolution. With that, we move on to the next topic, NSO data on retail inflation and IIP. If you look into the case of IMF, of International Monetary Fund, we can see that India's retail inflation relaxed in September 2021, and there was a reduction to a 5-month low, and this was mainly because of a favorable comparison with the year 2020 and moderating food prices that offset an increase in the cost of crude oil and fuel. In the case of consumer price inflation, this has decreased sharply to 4.35% in September 2021 as compared to 5.3% in August. And it was for the third consecutive month within the tolerance band of Reserve Bank of India this has happened. According to NSO data, inflation in food basket relaxed to 0.68% in 2021 September, and this has significantly decreased by 3.11% as compared to August. Coming to CPI headline momentum, we could see that Shaktikant Das, who is the RBI governor, he told that CPI headline momentum is moderating, and this momentum along with favorable base effects could soften the inflation in the near term. The index for industrial production, which is something related to calculation of inflation, and this says that IIP has increased by 11.9% in August 2021 as against 11.5% in July, and we could see that in August 2020, IPA had contracted 7.1%. Coming to another important day, Global Hand Washing Day. This is very important, especially in the scenario of COVID-19 pandemic. So the theme of the day is that global hand washing. Our future is at hand. Let's move forward together. You have to be very clear about the theme of the day, especially when it comes to these kinds of day, which is gaining importance in these days. I mean, with respect to this particular day, we can see that it is it has become very important to understand these kinds of days, and the theme of the day especially when the world is going through a difficult phase of COVID-19. Why do we observe Global Hand Washing Day is a very important question to ask, and this day has become more significant in the backdrop of COVID-19 outbreak. Amid the pandemic, we could see that overall health of a person is very important, their hygiene is important, their daily routine is important. So all these are considered to be important in order to live a healthy life and to prevent the population from infections, flu, etc. So washing hands is very significant. As per the National Health Mission, we could see that around 1 lakh children in India die annually. This is because of many diseases which could be preventable. And washing hands decrease the number of people having gastrointestinal problems by 29.5%, 57%. I mean, this gastrointestinal problems and all are something that which we could reduce with our healthy habits. With washing, this can help to drop the number of people with weakened immune system, respiratory illness, etc. Coming to the establishment of this day as the Global Hand Washing Day, we could see that this day was established with the partnership of Global Hand Washing Partnership in year 2008, and this was formally called as a public-private partnership for hand washing. Coming to the next topic, IMF World Economic Outlook. What were the highlights? International Monetary Fund has published a report, and in that report, a recovery of 6.3% is expected by 2021 and 2.5% by 2022 is expected. These figures indicate that the International Credit Organization observes a little increase in the gross domestic product for the region against what was evaluated in July, and in July 2021 it was estimated to increase by 5.8%. According to IMF, Brazil's GDP expansion will be 5.2% in 2021 while 1.5% in 2022, and for this IMF, the world economy will grow by 9% in 2021, and in July 2020 it was expected to increase by 6%. It also projected a growth by 4.9% in 2022. According to IMF, in mid-2022, deadline inflation it can have a chance to return to pre-pandemic level for advanced economies as well as for emerging and developing economies. Even though there are uncertainties, this is what is predicted by IMF. The agency has also noted that there exists a huge vaccine gap, big disparities between economically advanced countries and developing countries, and 60% of the population are vaccinated in advanced economies while 96% of the population are unvaccinated in low-income countries. This disparity needs to be addressed. That is what the IMF has done in the World Economic Outlook report, which was published recently. Coming to something related to IMF again, we could see that the report on report on India, which was published by IMF annually, and this year we could see that IMF has cautioned the authorities against the inflationary pressures faced in the economy. It has recommended a slow reduction in monetary policy support in the last year, and also we have to see that IMF has noted that a recovery is gaining ground. As per IMF, impact of COVID on investment and human capital might prolong the recovery, and this will impact the medium-term growth as well. Coming to the projected growth, IMF projected India's economic growth to 9.5% for the financial year 2021-22, and it has also projected the headline consumer price-based inflation at 5.6%. Coming to fiscal deficit, we could see that contraction in economic activity, lower revenue, COVID-19 related supports, all these have led to a widening of fiscal deficit of the central government, and this deficit of the center and state was at 12.8% in 2020-2021. Coming to green crackers, very important topic, especially in the present day. Different states have imposed either a complete or partial ban on firecracker sale, And in these days, we could see the government has permitted the sale of green crackers instead. So in this context, let's understand what green crackers are. These are low emission fireworks that Supreme Court in 2017 had permitted for celebrations to a moderate level during festivals and relaxed the complete ban on firecrackers. And these are considered to be researched and developed by CSIR and NERI. That means that CSIR stands for the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, and NERI, National Environment and Engineering Research Institute. They have collaborated to develop these green crackers, and these are supported or these are produced with less harmful raw materials that suppress the test when they are burnt, and this would help to reduce emissions in the environment. It is very important to understand that these types of crackers do not comprise of harmful chemicals like arsenic, lithium, barium, lead, etc. and they release water vapor which does not allow the dust to rise. These crackers are believed to cause 30% less particulate matter pollution as compared to usual conventional traditional crackers. Rajasthan government has banned the sale and use of crackers in the state, and they only allow green crackers to to be sold. Delhi Pollution Control Committee has completely banned the sale and bursting of firecrackers in Delhi, and Tamil Nadu urged the governments in Delhi, Haryana, Rajasthan, and Odisha to seriously consider the sale of green crackers in their own territories. Coming to another important day, October 11, this is recognized as the US Indigenous People Day. This was proclaimed after recognizing the resilience and strength along with the immeasurable positive impact that these people have made on every aspect of American economy. So, what does Indigenous Peoples Day? It is typically observed on second Monday of October, and this day recognizes indigenous communities who have lived in US for thousands of years. It grew increasingly common as a replacement for Columbus Day, and as we all know, Columbus Day celebrates the explorer who sailed from Spain with a crew in three ships, namely Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria in the year 1492. So, moving to this background of the day, we could see that many of the US cities, states, etc., commemorated the day before American president proclaimed it. We could see that this day is observed under different names across the world. Canada recognized it as observe it on June 21 as the Indigenous Peoples Day. With that, we move on to the next topic. China has launched astronaut crew on 6-month mission. The crew is actually planned to set a new record for time spent in space by Chinese astronauts as China move on completing the orbit structure. What are the activities of the crew? The scheduled activities include up to 3 spacewalks in order to install equipment for expanding space station, assessing living conditions in the module, and conducting experiments in space medicine and other fields. The military-run space program of China plans and send multiple crews on station in the next 2 years in order to make it fully functional. With that, we move on to the next topic. October 13, International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction. Especially in a scenario that the world is facing one disaster after another, this is considered to be a very important day, and the importance of this day is gaining importance day by day. This is observed to promote global culture of risk awareness and disaster reduction. This celebrates how people and communities across the world are reducing their exposure to disasters. With respect to 2001, we could see that this day provides an opportunity, or observance of this day provides an opportunity to acknowledge the progress made toward reducing disaster risk and losses in lives, health, livelihoods, etc. And in 2021, this will focus on international cooperation of developing countries in order to reduce their disaster risk and disaster losses. How can we reduce disaster risks or disaster losses? It's very important to think about that. And as a result, many thinkers, experts, practitioners, innovators have thought about this, and they have highlighted that what's new spots the emerging trends, examine behavior, reveals disturbing patterns, and presents progress in reducing risk. With that, we move on to another topic, climate resilience information system and planning tool. This has been launched in order to integrate the climate information in the geographic information system based watershed planning under MNREGA. We are all familiar with MNREGA, and that is Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. And with respect to this tool, which we discussed today, it was developed with the help of the British government and all stakeholders. They supported the Rural Development Ministry in developing these kinds of tools. And this tool will open up new possibility for rural community in dealing with the climate change issues. Ministry of Rural Development have prepared GIS plans which will be implemented across 1.82 lakh gram panchayats out of the total of 2.69 lakh gram panchayats in India. Next, EU's first green bond issuance. What is green bond? First of all, this is a debt instrument through which capital is raised to fund green projects. And green projects usually include projects related to renewable energy, sustainable water management, and clean transportation. We have to understand that huge demand was there as Brazil kicked off its efforts for becoming the world's biggest issuer of sustainable debt. And here, the one we talk about today is the largest green bond deal, eclipsing the UK's debt debate in the month of September. The first issue or the issue of the recent bond is the first on an expected 250 billion of European Commission green bonds, and proceeds through the green bond. It is expected that it will be given to the member state who can spend it on areas like transport, energy efficiency, nature protection, etc. With that, we move on to the next topic. Germany launches world's first self-driving train. So it was introduced, or it was launched in Hamburg, and the train is of more punctual and energy efficient as compared to the traditional conventional trains. And for other cities such as Paris, driverless metros were there. Airports have been automated. Monorail trains are there. But this self-driving train is a project which was developed by Siemens, and this is being dubbed as the world's first one. And the project is a part of 60 billion euro modernization rapid urban rail system of Hamburg. We could see that though the train is controlled by digital technology, it is fully automated. Though this is the case, we could see that a driver would be sitting on the train to supervise the journeys of passengers on the board. Next topic, Prime Minister Modi to attend G20 Extraordinary Leaders Summit on Afghanistan. We are very much aware about what is happening in Afghanistan. At least what is given in news, we know there are many problems, people suffering a lot as a result of political related issues which is going on in Afghanistan. And during the G20 Extraordinary Leaders Summit, the top world leaders actually discuss response to humanitarian needs as well as access to basic services and livelihood in Afghanistan. And what is the role of G20 in Afghanistan? It's a very important question to ask. Actually, we know that it is a group of 20 major economies, that is G20, and this platform would help the world economies in building international consensus, as well as it would help to facilitate a coordinated approach between multilateral organizations, including the United Nations, as well as its agencies. So it can facilitate coordination among global and regional actors in order to address the worsening humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan. With that, we move on to the next aspect or the next topic, GI tag for Karpur Kalamkari paintings and Kalakurchi wood carvings. So you have to be very clear about this GI or geographical indication. First of all, it is actually a tag used to identify products originating from a definite geographical territory and have some special characteristics. So this tag is governed by some geographical indication of goods. The tag is valid for a period of 10 years. This 10 years is also important. So we can see that intellectual property rights is also given with respect to this. Coming to the kalamkari, the artisans from certain areas, specifically the area near Kumbakonam, have been practicing this particular type of art for many generations, and they have royal patronage in many times. Presently, this type of traditional art is practiced in Karipur. This Tanjavur district, the Tanjavur district is considered to be one of the important areas of Kalamkari art. And Kalakurchi wood carvings, with that we could see that it is indigenous to Madurai region. Global Multidimensional Poverty Index of 2021, another important topic. We could see that in the case of Indian scenario, the scheduled tribe group in India, which accounts for 9.4% of the population, is the poorest. And out of the 283 million scheduled caste group, 94 million are living in the multidimensional poverty. And multidimensional poverty, it is actually launched by UNDP and the OPHI in the year 2010. This uses 3 dimensions and 10 indicators like education, health, standard of living. Education, health, and standard of living. Okay. Nobel Prize in Economics 2021. Very important topic. These were conferred with, there were the 3 economists were given this prize. This is conferred in the memory of Alfred Nobel. And the prize was started in the year 1968 by the donation from Central Bank of Sweden. A prize comprised of 10 million Swedish kroner awarded money, which roughly accounts for 8.33 crore. It officially titled as the Sveriges Riksbank Prize for Economic Sciences in the memory of Alfred Nobel. The Sveriges Riksbank Prize for Economic Sciences is known as the Nobel Prize in Economics. In the year 2021, David Card had been conferred the award for the empirical contributions to labor economics. Then Angrist and Ibbins have awarded for their methodological contributions to the analysis of causal relationship. RBI Monetary Policy Committee announcement, another important topic. Here we could see that reverse repo rate was kept as earlier as 3.35. Marginal standing facility rate and bank rate also remain unchanged at 4.25. What were the policy revisions then? The 8th consecutive time, the RBI has maintained a status quo on policy rate, and here the central bank had revised its policy rate on May 22nd, 2020, and now we could see that according to RBI governor, high frequency indicators point that economic activity has gained momentum. Core inflation is still sticky, and CPI inflation was lower than expected. India is a much better place as compared to last MPC meeting. It is forecasted that for the year 21-22, CPI inflation would be at 5.3%, and food inflation is predicted to remain muted in coming months. Nobel Prize in Literature, another important thing. Here we have to understand that this prize for uncompromising and compassionate penetration of the effects of colonization and fate of refugees in gulf between cultures and continents. Abdul Razak Gurna. This was a person who has been awarded the prize. He has taken into consideration cultural interest, etc. in his work, and in 2020 it was Lucy Gilak, who was a professor who was awarded this prize. I'm really sorry if I have pronounced it wrong. I don't know whether I have pronounced it wrong. If I'm wrong, then please, I'm really sorry for that. Okay. So that's all for today. Please like, share, and subscribe this channel for more videos. We will be continuing with the updates of October. That's it. Thank you. And please be a part of my Telegram group and Telegram channel to discuss your doubts on these issues as well.